For more than 30 years of his life, he has dedicated it to a sport that has sold Ghana to the world. His investment contributed to marketing the brand Ghana to the rest of the globe. He's a man who has decided that boxing is a sport that is his passion, a sport that he is desirous of investing his resources in. It's a sport that he says that many young talents out there would have an opportunity to build a career of their own. But the bigger question is, why boxing? And what is the reason behind that decision to get into boxing and to contributing to the success boxing has chalked in the country? And many people cannot forget about the fact that some of Ghana's world title winners passed through his hands. We cannot forget to talk about like the likes of Ike Corty, the likes of Alfred Cote. These were gentlemen some 20, 30 years ago who won world titles for Mother Ghana. And his brain was behind the success that was chalked by some of these boxers. He continues to contribute his quota to the sport of boxing in Ghana and beyond. My guest today on Prime Tech is Mr. Yoofi Boham, the man who says that boxing is his DNA. Mr. Boham, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
You and your team.
Thank you. Thank you. When I walked in, I realized that you wore a shirt that had the inscription "God's Team." What does that mean?
That's right. That's the name branded to a Ghanaian German-born boxer.
Oh, okay.
Who I handled some time ago.
Oh, okay.
And that was the insignia of the team.
Okay.
When entering the ring, that's the power of God.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is his name?
I've forgotten. He has a German name, which is very difficult to pronounce.
Mention.
Yes.
I can understand.
That's going beyond the borders of Ghana.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
He was domiciled in Britain.
Okay.
Ghanaian father, Ghanaian mother, and a German father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he happened to had the privilege of contacting me to, steer his affairs.
Okay.
I got him to the WBO international, but he lost, and then the interest waned away.
That I can clearly understand.
Yes.
But talk to us briefly, Mr. Boham. I'll come to the point of you deciding that you want to do boxing. But your early childhood beginning, what were they like?
Well, I've never been a fighter. My parents knew me at that time to be very timid.
Okay.
Yes, and I've never fought.
Maybe the street fight?
It's in the street fight. So it amazes my parents and my siblings as to how did you get into boxing?
Yes.
Which is your main question, right? Well, when I was growing up, my youngest uncle, he was a street fighter, a boxer, and he was training in Sekendi Neighborhood Center with the legendary Eddie Blay. If you've heard the name.
Yes, I have.
Eddie Blay was the national champion during the Kwame Nkrumah era. He, an Inzima born Eddie Blay, whose brothers are still some in politics right now.
Okay.
Yes. He was a boxer training in Sekendi, and I used to follow my uncle, my last uncle, to the gym. And well, I didn't know what it was about at that time, just going in and punching bags and all that. But when I entered into my teens, then a friend of mine who was at Abosokai was running a gym. And I happened to be close to him, called E.J. Sabute. He was a customs officer. So he happened to have been transferred out of Accra. And he says, I would like someone to look after the gym for me. And I devoted myself and was visiting the gym, attending to the training sessions of the boxers, and gradually through that I became the representative of the gym on the Greater Accra Boxing Association meeting. So attending the meetings gradually, there I got to meet the late Roy Ankra.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And they all came to like me. So I ended up, being voted into the Greater Accra Association.
Okay.
From there, gradually, then I was approached with 2 boxers to manage and promote. Fine. So the promotion made me to register a promotion company.
Oh, okay.
At that time, to promote
boxers.
The 2 boxers. He is Tondaye, okay, now of Atimpoku, okay, and then the late Remus Ajare. They were then being trained by the late Surprise Soa. Surprise Soa, around the Bukom area, Swalaba. That's where the gym was in the house. You can't believe it. It's not a gym, but in the house, cemented house. And when you enter there you see Rankra came out from that gym.
Okay.
You have Tukwe Klote. Most of the Ghanaian boxers were all trained by this Surprise Soa.
Okay.
Yes. So together we worked, and then promoted Tondaye, Remus Ajare. They all became national champions, and that was the era of retired Major Amaka Amatefu.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, that was his era.
Yeah.
So they became national champions. Then with Tondaye became the Commonwealth featherweight champion. From there became the Commonwealth super featherweight champion. And that was a history, because no individual had won 2 Commonwealth titles or held 2 Commonwealth titles before. Okay. Rankra was featherweight. Those who went in lightweight, middleweight, and all that. Yeah. But Tondaye became the first Ghanaian ever under my management. Remus Ajare became a national champion, and Amakai, Major retired Amakai Matefu, brought in an opportunity for Remus Ajare to be the first in the world to fight for the WBC International Championship. Okay. That was the time that the WBC International Championship had been instituted.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. And Ajare was to be the first to fight for that title, the whole world. We had the approval from Suleiman, the late Suleiman, WBC president at that time. Okay. And we were to do an elimination here. Very, very unfortunately, a week to the fight date, Remus Ajare got stabbed in the rib. So the fight had to be put off, and it was put off for 1 year. But the boxing world or the sporting world, no one waits for anyone.
Yes.
So that opportunity yes, left the shores of Ghana. After 1 year, we did the fight. Ajare had then recovered, but I think his strength had then diminished. Yes, diminished. And he happened to be the first Kwawu-born boxer. Okay. He was Kwawu-born. Tondaye was an Atimpoku, that is a Kwamu-born. And he was then supported by Colonel Grant. I think Colonel Grant, who became a PNDC secretary. Yeah. No, not PNDC. It was under Chiampon, Secretary for Health. Okay. Yes. he happened to be marrying an Akwamu lady.
Oh.
So they came together and then were supporting Tondai. When he's fighting, you can imagine the euphoria that is created by these Kwamus.
Yeah.
And the father coming around with his walking stick. And all the Bukum guys thought it was a juju.
Okay. This is quite an interesting one. But in your narration of all these, we know Bukom, or maybe it is perceived that Bukom is the factory for the production of
the
boxers.
maker of boxing in Ghana.
That's a point.
Yes.
But all the story you're telling me, you spoke about Izuma, you spoke about Kwehus, and I'm beginning to wonder how come. And in fact, where were you born yourself?
Yes, Yoofi Boham was born on 23rd January 1948. So I'm now approaching my 76th birthday. That's coming this January. My mother's birthday and my birthday is 2 weeks apart. Exactly 2 weeks. My mother being January 9th and me January 23rd.
Yeah, 23. Okay.
So we are 2 weeks apart.
So were you born in Accra or?
Sekondi Takoradi.
You were born in Sekondi Takoradi. So you grew up in Sekondi Takoradi?
Sekondi Takoradi. School there, and then grew up to be meeting Eddie Blay as a boxer, training alongside my uncle.
So talk to let me have something very clear. So it means that even your elementary education was also in Takoradi.
Oh, Sekondi Takoradi. That's where my parents were. So I'm Sekondi Takoradi born, but the name Boham are all Elmina citizens.
Oh, okay.
Cape Coast Elmina.
Oh, okay.
That's right. So we are from Elmina, but born in Sekondi Takoradi.
So what does the Boham mean?
Boham, I learned it's a colonial, one of the colonial masters' names. Yes, you know, the Elmina Castle.
No wonder you colonized boxing.
That's right. You have the Elmina Castle, the Cape Coast Castle. In Cape Coast, our family house, it's across our family house and then the Cape Coast Castle.
Oh, okay.
It's the first ever sports field to come up in the Gold Coast. And that's called the Victoria Park at Cape Coast. That was the park or the field on which the colonial masters started playing football. Yes.
But since you have a colonial master name, it means that your background was very good. You grew up from a home that had cash, money.
Not exactly, but somehow. That's right.
But then, how would you describe that early beginning of your life?
Right. It was a bit robust. You know, Sekondi Takoradi isn't a place of. At that time, you know, the main occupation or job opportunity there was the harbor. The Takoradi harbor. That's right. My uncles, you know, were working at the harbor, the job in ships and all that. And we, the kids, also, you know, we'll be going to the beaches. And then, you know, for instance, I grew up by going to the tennis court and then be catching tennis balls, the lawn tennis, yes, which a place called, we call them, that place, Beach Road, at Takoradi. And you do that to earn some money. Then go into graphic selling. Yes, early morning you go and collect your newspapers and then sell before you go to school. While growing old, you have chores in the house. You have to get up early in the morning, do your chores, go and collect your graphic, sell, and as quickly as possible so that you get the opportunity to go to school. So you could see that it was a very robust life from the beginning. in the morning. If you don't do that, you don't get extra money for your pocket.
Okay.
Yes. So, well,
that's how you would describe it.
Yes.
But what is that thing that you did during your childhood days where you look back at the set and you go like, oh, did I actually do this?
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yes. Well, I was an athlete most of the
Okay.
yes, I was an athlete doing the sprints.
Okay.
And during our childhood, I started after the day nursery. I entered elementary class 1 thereabout at the Howard Memorial Primary School at Takoradi. This school, it's opposite the state transport at Takoradi. From there, advanced to the Kesley Hayford Memorial, and left Takoradi straight away to Nsawam. Yeah, my uncle picked me to Nsawam. Right. At Takoradi with the athletics, that propelled me to a higher level in sports at secondary Takoradi, and then the Western region.
So you were famous.
That's well, not that famous,
but as talented athlete, probably.
But there was one guy who I could never beat, and that really pained me because I was always second to him.
Okay.
I try as I did, I never. So in sports, that was my main disappointment for not.
So what did you do? What did you do?
I had to be content with my position as second. Yes.
but off the track as an athlete, what is that childhood thing that you did? You go like,
right?
Maybe you go to your mother's bag and pick her coins or what?
Oh.
Did you do that?
Oh yes. You cannot run away from that. my mother grew up by learning how to bake from my grandmother.
Okay.
Yes. No, they were born in Nsawam.
Oh, okay.
So that was the trade of my grandmother. Bread and cake baking, and that was taken over by my mother.
Okay.
Now, whilst they were busy baking, we will be. You see Takoradi Polytechnic.
Yeah.
Opposite Takoradi Polytechnic, was a very big swampy area.
Oh, okay.
And that leads to another place known as New Takoradi.
Okay.
So we always pray for rain, and that's where we go for crab trapping.
Oh, okay.
Crab, the red one.
Yeah.
Yes, with that piercing. So we went catching the crab, and at one time the crab ran. We stood, and something said, "Oh, try and then use your hand, dip your hand into the hole." I pulled my hand, and the crab was hanging there, and I was shouting. Say what? Okay. I was able to be rescued.
Yeah.
When we got home, if you do mention, you'll be last in addition to the pain. So I kept it to myself. But then I was suffering. So at the end of the day, it was detected that this is what I went doing, and I was really lashed to the core. The second one was when we go to school, we pass by this kebab chaps, chichinga. So we collect the tidbits and then have it as a kebab on the kebab stick.
Okay.
We press it. Then we will be roasting it gradually. Whilst one will be turning the kebab,
yes,
you will also be fanning it with your mouth.
You have to blow the air.
Yes, blow the air so it came to my turn. When it came to my turn, I was blowing the air. Then someone kicked the other party, and the fire straight away to my mouth. What blisters and everything. Yeah, how do I go home? How can I? What do I say? Ah, well, I got home all right. What's wrong with you? Couldn't talk. What's wrong? Couldn't talk. Third one, oh, you are about to receive slabs. Then I said, no, this is what happened when we went to school. Instead of going to school, oh, so you are those kobolos. You're learning to be a kobolo. Early morning, I was marched to school. Complaint was made to the headmaster. Headmaster went to the class and asked for all those who were in my company. And that became a very big problem because all those involved, their parents were invited to the school, and I really regretted. Oh. Everybody was punished. Everybody, including me, who was even having my blisters.
But I'm sure those things actually taught you lots of lessons.
Oh yes. You know, to talk about it and laugh. Yeah. Yes. I have only one classmate in Takrady who used to call me. When he calls me, then you know, we laugh over it.
Yeah, you talk about old days.
Yes, those days. And when my little brother would come to the class and then be shouting, Yoofi, Dada Frau. To the class teacher will ask, hey, where is he from? He come all the way from the house to the class.
I say Dada Frau.
Yeah, Dada Frau. For what? Nobody knows. And up to today, my friend Odro mentioned it when he calls me on phone.
Dada Frau. And Dada Frau in the athletics to Frau. So why didn't you do the athletics more?
Oh, actually, I stopped it. I lost interest in it.
What happened?
Well, I lost interest in it and rather stick to table tennis.
Table tennis, okay.
Yes, okay. Stick to table tennis. So right from Nsawam back to Takrady and all that, table tennis was the game that I loved.
And then table tennis, you came to Accra.
Yes.
In fact, you didn't even go to the factory for production of boxes, but you went in there to do boxing.
That's right. And when I handled those boxes, I never regretted. That's Tondaye. They made me to be very popular. The fraternity, you know.
So was that the foundation of your decision to go like, okay, let me go all out into boxing? Because you talk about athletics, you've spoken about tennis.
Tennis, yes.
But you switched
to boxing.
To boxing.
Yes.
And it is boxing that you actually built a wonderful career for yourself.
Right.
So
that's right.
Let me have a perfect picture. How long did your friend at Aboso Kai leave the gym for you to manage that you were able to?
That's he went on transfer. Even though the place was his family home, he went on transfer. He was on transfer, and so I handled it for a couple of years, about almost 10 years, till he came back. Yes, and he became a referee judge of boxing as well. EJDO Sabute. He's known in the boxing fraternity.
Was he excited to see what you did?
Oh yes. He's excited up to today, even though he's now an invalid. Yes, and retired invalid. But he was very excited because I was promoting his boxers, managing them, including those that I was managing from Surprise Soas Gym. And his past boxers, Peter Inisa and all that in those days, all became national champions, you see, through me. Now come to talk, it's from there that, came in Ikote and Afrekote.
I'll come to that, but tell me, how were you spotting the talents, knowing that this person has got a talent and has a career?
Not that I was gifted by magic or anything to spot the talent. It's most of the time the coaches will recommend the boxers. Oh, this is this chap is a promising chap, and he needs help. Oh, is that so? Fine. Let me go in to give the necessary help. I was then in the commerce field.
Okay.
Yes, I was into importing and exporting, and I had passion. The passion grew by itself.
Then you also had money to invest.
Yes. So the passion grew by itself, and you know, when I was approached with Ikoti and Afrikuti, I said, no, it's something which I felt was too it would be too difficult for me to manage, because I had then not had all the necessary experience.
Okay. But
so,
were they already top quality boxers, Mrs. Lee?
They were from the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
I signed them on straight from the Olympics.
Okay.
And they were top Ghanaian boxers who Amaka Amatefu, the late, the retired Amaka, had sponsored to Cuba.
Okay.
As amateurs. Sponsored to Cuba. They were in the national team.
Okay.
And Amaka was very, very particular about those two boys. You see, and I had come to, Amaka had come to like me very much. So he said, Yoofi, take on these boys, handle them, because there are a lot of parasites around. They will only go in, sign the boys, and at the end of the day, will be pursuing their own personal interests. And you get them, destroyed. Their careers destroyed. So it was
Amakai personally who gave them the boxes?
That's right, Amakai. But then they were under the management of loose management, under some other guys from Mampro B. So I went in, and that was the time that Raincraft Promotion was handling Azuma Nelson and Nanaya Okunedu.
Okay, top boxers.
That's right. And they happened to be very close friend of mine, Raincraft, because they were all friends to my brother-in-law way back in US.
Okay.
So at events, we all sit.
Do stuff together.
Yes, behind a table, and then chat together. At that time was this the now present Golden Tulip, which is been renamed.
Oh, okay.
That's where we used to meet. So they were approached, and they said, "Oh, Yoofi has toiled with these two boxers. The top level one could go was the Commonwealth, that is Tondaye. Ajare became a victim of stabbing. So the advisor should take on the two boys, who were then fresh from the Olympics, having fought one or two.
Which year was this?
Oh, in fact, yes.
It should be the early 1990s.
Yes. So I took them on with the advice of a son of the late E.C. Kwe, who is now in Chicago. He goes by name Abando. He was 100% for the boys. So with him, we set up a gym, and then there was a gym already ongoing, that is Akutuku gym, which was set up by the late Atukwe Clotti. And that gym was, producing tough boxers. Yes, and Atukwe Clotti, had already produced 3 of his sons. Joshua Clotti, and 2 others, Joshua Clotti and 2 other Clottis. They were all three, and they were well-titled, promising boxers. But very unfortunately, they all fell by the wayside, and that was the era of the beginning of Azuma Nelson as well. Okay. You see, Azuma started under a coach and then graduated to Atukwe Clotis. Okay. Yes. So that was where Amaka Matefiu and some other dignitaries came together to be managing the Akotoku Academy.
Oh, okay.
So Azuma passed through that academy, passed through Atukwe Clotis, under the hands of Atukwe Clotis, alongside the three Clotis, yes. Judas Clotis, Thunder Clotis, yes, and then that's right. Not Joshua. Joshua is
he's young.
Yes, very young. Yes, yes. Okay. He wasn't even, I think.
I can imagine.
Yes. Yeah. So these Clotis were the three Clotis and Azuma Nelson were the bright stars for the country in those days. Well, they fell by the wayside. They all traveled. They stayed in the diaspora, okay. UK, for instance, and I happened to have the privilege of visiting the gym in UK, the Thomas Becket gym, which had Atukwe Clotis man-size image. Okay. And that was where my boxers were lodging and then training. That's right. Kid Smiler, Tondaye, that's where they were all lodging, yes. So, with that, I came to manage them, then started to climb the ladder. That was the era that South Africa apartheid was really.
Yeah, at its peak.
That's right, at its peak. So, I had to, you can't do boxing alone. I had to rely on friends outside. And the main friend that I relied on was the late Anwe Kofi, who went by the name The Black Cat.
Okay, yeah. Yes, it's quite a familiar name.
That's right, Anwe Kofi. He was a goalkeeper. A guy who kept the post of Asante Kotoko.
Yeah, that's what I say, it's a very familiar name.
That's right. And then
in fact, stories has it that he was that goalkeeper that even if he concedes a penalty, he will tell him, even if they argue that it's not a penalty, to let him take the penalty and catch it, and he'll catch it.
That's right. And he was one person who, with Pele, not Ghana Pele.
Yeah, World Pele.
Yeah. Set up the Santos Professional Soccer Soccer Club. Okay. Yes, there is an old picture of all of them in. Yeah, so back in US, through him I met Pele. Yes, I met Pele in New York. We all had a good time.
Yeah.
Yes, that was when I was negotiating to get Ikoti and Afrikoti to the US. So it was there. Now I was able to get Anwe Kofi. I do send him. In those days, communication wasn't as easy as today. Yeah. I do get him to visit the IBF, the BBC, convent meetings and all that. But then IBF had its headquarters in New Jersey. Yes, and Anwe was living in New Jersey. So I do send him messages, send him to the New Jersey office, and he presents it. And so through this, I was able to get the two boys ranked and then started climbing the ladder of all the 4 world bodies. IBF was then one of the 3 world bodies. The BBO was then new. But the 3 major bodies were the WBC, WBA, and IBF. So IBF office in New Jersey gave Anwe Kofi, an easy access to the office. So we were able to get the boys ranked. Now, with the apartheid, you have WBA, with the apartheid. The BBC, IBF were not. They weren't having South Africa in their good books. Yeah. So that was the time that even you can't travel from Ghana to South Africa. You have to pass through London. So I was able to get the boys ranked by WBA as well. One morning I received a phone call, invited to the ministries, and that was the time Castle 2 was there. I had to answer as to how the boys got to be ranked at the WBA, because Ghana is not to be with the WBA because of apartheid, and it was a hell. It was a hell for me. Well, it ended peacefully, and we started, we kept on going, got all the necessary documents and put in their visas application. It took 1 year for us to receive approval for them to go for their visas. In that, then Ikote was lured by Raincraft. That is how I got to lose Ikote.
How disappointing was that? Were you disappointed you lost him?
Oh yes, I was disappointed, and my spouse at that time took all the papers heading towards the court to restrain Ikote from fighting. Now the manager in US, Fred Berg, the late Fred Berg, meanwhile also took up the matter in US. And anytime that Ike was fighting, Fred will issue summons. He was a Jew.
Did you have a contract with Ike?
Oh yes!
And it was going for how many years?
Initially, it's always for 4 years.
For 4 years?
Either 3 or 4 in those days.
In those days?
Yes.
And it means that he breached the contract?
Oh yes. Yes.
So when he breached the contract, did he compensate you?
Oh no. I didn't receive even a penny. Yes. I didn't receive even a penny. And it wasn't a breach which was just smoothly done. It was rough. It was something which was really... I took the boys to the UK for Alfred's Commonwealth Championship fight. So the boys they grew up as if they were siblings.
Okay.
Because of the pronunciation of their names, a lot of people thought they were brothers.
Kote and Kote.
Kote, yes.
Okay.
But Kote is K-O-T-E-Y.
Yeah.
Kote is Q-U-A-R-T-E-Y. Yeah. So, when we went for the Commonwealth Championship, that was the first Commonwealth title fight amongst the two.
So they fought each other?
No, among the two, okay. For the two. So, straight away, Ikote came to tell me that, and that was my mistake, that a friend of mine, Alhaji Hearts,
Alhaji Hearts, former of Hasapo?
Oh yes. Alhaji Hearts has gracefully told him that he will fund his ticket to London, so he will go along. I said okay, because Alhaji Hearts had been my friend for many years. When he was a ball boy and all that, he was my friend during those days. And so I agreed, and that was my downfall.
That's how he was lured away from you?
Yes. When I agreed, we all went to UK to support Alfred Kote.
Yeah.
After the fight, Alfred won. They should come home, and Isaac and the coach Oko Damte decided to stay back. Oko Damte wasn't a coach. I made him a coach. I made him a coach bureaucratically, which has a meaning. When I say bureaucratically, on paper.
Because okay, maybe I don't want, maybe the literal meaning of bureaucracy also maybe different from what you're
paper way, yes. All that what I did was They were 4. With the late Isaka, Ibole Isaka and all that. Kofi Kwe, they were 4 boxers. Kofi Kwe, Ibole Isaka, Aikote, Alfred Kote, in that gym. And I happened to handle all the 4. Now, that gym had Atuko Clote's son, Philip Clote, as the coach.
Oh, okay.
And all along, Oko Dampton had been their friend.
So you had a suspicion that Oko Dampton played a role in how Aikote left?
Oh no, he didn't have he didn't play a role at all. Honestly, he didn't. But what I did was, for us to have easy in documentation for visas and all that, Ike record, I made it, I prepared it in those days, not today like today's bus rec. I prepare it and put a trainer's name under.
Oh, okay.
And sign. So I allotted Oko Dampton's name to Ike record. Ike's record.
Oh, okay, okay.
And that of Alfred Kote was Philip Clote. So that application goes to the embassy. Then each boxer has his trainer.
Has a trainer.
You see.
I see.
Hey.
I can imagine. So how did you resolve the issue with Aikote?
No, but my wife had wanted to bring to go to court, but then we were having one elder, O'Hara Jackson Davis, who was a WBC referee judge, and O'Hara happened to be a lodge member of my father-in-law.
Oh, okay.
And just entering the court premises, he met my spouse. Oh, well, where are you going? Because he knows my spouse.
Yeah.
Because the and Hugh Davis were lodge members.
Oh, okay.
Lodge. In those days, we have lodges. So she said, oh, what has happened is what he is sending the distance, summons to court. It's been prepared. He said, no, don't go. Come. We talk about it. So
the issues were resolved out of court.
Not resolved. She came and she followed him, and there was a standstill. So a fight was to happen, which was to be promoted by Ringcraft. That was, I think, African title. And I quickly prepared an injunction. I got injunction prepared. They were served. Ringcraft was served. At dawn, about midnight, about 12:01 a.m., I heard my gate Dansuman, pam 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 pam. When I looked, it was elders in boxing. Alhaji Shomi Williams, then the Greencraft, Oko Dampton, uncle, and all that. What's the matter? I said, the next morning, the director of sports would like to see you. Not knowing, Rollins had stepped in. Our late J.J. Rollins. You know, he was a boxing man.
Yeah.
He had stepped in, and the following morning, his message was given me, trying to invite me to the castle for me to forget about everything, because we are in a small enclave. Ghana is not like US. This man will be in a state somewhere, and you can live for 10 years, you don't meet anyone. So that message came to me, and I had to leave everything to sleep.
He left everything to sleep. I can imagine the pain.
Well, yes, the pain was there, but the boy realized it.
Have you forgiven him now?
Oh, he knows. Forgiving him, and if he had stayed with me, he would have been very, very prosperous.
Do you think he would have been a much better boxer and be successful in his career if he stayed with
you?
Oh,
yes. Not as it was today.
But when he left you, within some few months, he won a world title.
Yes, and within a month, between the time he won his world title and Alfred Kote's world title, was 1 month.
So were you pained that he could have won that world title under your management.
Yeah, if he had stayed and had not left, he would have traveled with Afrekoti. And, you know, between the two, each was an inspiration to the other. Right from their childhood. You know, they started boxing from their childhood.
So even the separation was more of a separation of their bondage that existed?
Yes, between them. Because if they had gone together, the 1 year that Afrekoti had in US, by winning the 8 straight fights, and the 9th fight he lost, the 10th fight would have been a world championship. The two of them would have won their world titles before that, because each was an inspiration to the other.
I see.
Whenever I'm put on the local scene, whenever one is fighting, the other one will be in his corner, or both of them will be on the same bill.
Oh, I see. That's quite an interesting one.
Yes.
And what is that special thing that you did for Afrekoti to win that world title? Because we're now at a point where it appears it's quite difficult. What was those special things that you were doing behind the scenes, helping these boxers build a career of their own?
Well, it's no magic, but you know, it's when I mention all the boxers, then you know that one has to use his brains. On the boxing scene, on the world scene, it's more than politics. The politics that is played there, you have to have the patience. You have to have the contacts. See? And I came to be liked by Suleiman, the BBC president. So anything about Africa or even Ghana had to be channeled through me. He would channel it through me. Even the vice president of the BBC, who happened to be the late Alote Kofi, who was then the president of Ghana Boxing. He, Alote Kofi, attending convention, the BBC convention, all arrangement will be channeled through me.
So you know that before you be successful, you need to have the political network at the boxing?
Yes! You have to.
Have we lost that in Ghana? We no longer have that network?
Oh, who is the one to, you know, get in for that? Not the president. Even the president. I don't think even they are familiar with the ratings committee presidents and chairmen and all that. You have to be, you know, associated with them to that level, and that's what gave or brought up Azidobe's opportunity.
Okay.
You see.
Oh, really? So you had to go through that channel?
Yes.
You had to deal with them politically for him to be rated?
Azidobe went and brought in the world title opportunity.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How did he do it?
Fine. I was approached by the chiefs of one of the couple of chiefs from the Volta region at a boxing tournament at Azuma Nelson complex. After the fight, these chiefs walked to me and said, "Oh, Mr. Boham, we want you to help our son." Yeah. Which son? They mentioned Isaac Dogbe. Then the father was his trainer. So I said, "Oh, I'll think about it." And they said, no, as for this, if you think about it and we come and say, "Oh, then we've all lost, but we want you to be with the team." Fine, I agreed at the long run. And that was where it started. We had a couple of fights, bringing in other fighters. That's right. That's right.
Because I covered those fights closely.
Fine, and all those fights I was in.
Okay.
See, then came the opportunity for Isaac.
To fight Jesse Magdalene.
That's right.
Yeah.
So how would it come? Magdalena was then, I think, he wasn't available. He was then on. He had an injury. Okay. So he was given a time to recover. Before it was official. So the title, he was holding on to the title till it became that they should fight for it on as an interim championship. Yeah. Fine. It happened that Isaac was ranked number 3, so he had no opportunity. It hasn't reached him at all. You have the mandatory challenger, then come to the first contender, second contender, and then you have Isaac as the 3rd contender. That's where we have risen to.
Oh, okay.
So there was this upcoming convention. Then the father asked, I went to US to visit my son, and then quickly they phoned me. Said, okay, let the boy come to me in the US. And then we went in, registered and went in for the convention. At that time, storm had devastated Puerto Rico. The convention was to be held in Puerto Rico. And those places had then been devastated by the storm. So it was decided that, okay, the convention has to come on at all costs. So a cruise liner, very mighty one, was booked for the convention to be held aboard the cruise liner. So for the 6 days that the convention ran, was aboard this cruise liner, which sailed from Florida to Havana in Cuba and back.
Wow.
For a total of 6 days. So for the 6 days we were aboard, Isaac Dogbe and his cousin, using the gym aboard the ship, doing road work, running. They have tracks.
So was it at that conference you had a meeting with some of the top bosses?
Yes. No, not the top bosses. With the convention. The
top bosses that don't like the decision makers.
That's right. With the WBO.
Yes. And that's how he was approved.
Yes. So it was approved for us to have the eliminator.
Okay.
Between him and then the Mexican also over here.
Okay.
And
is it Xavier Chacon or Cesar Juarez? Which of them?
I think Cesar Suarez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the last person whom he fought before the Magdaleno.
Oh, yes, yes.
So the president that then asked me. The president, coincidentally, was the manager of Azuma's world title victim.
Oh, okay. Is it the Australian?
No. The Puerto Rican. When Azuma's first world title victory, the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, when we check it, you see. Wilfredo Gomez.
Yes.
Wilfredo Gomez. He was the manager of Wilfredo in those days.
Oh, okay.
So bond was established between the two of us.
I see.
All through, whereby I became the representative of WBO even in Africa in my time, long before. So this man asked me, Yoofi, we've given you the nod, but can you promote it in I said, yes, we will promote it in Ghana. Said, okay, these people weren't prepared to promote it, and it has to be promoted. So quickly, I phoned Isaac's father, told him the decision, and he accepted. So we had to start the ball rolling.
So that's how you brought the staff to Ghana.
That's right.
Yeah. So I just want to wrap up the conversation pretty quick. But how sad were you when Prophet Koti died?
In fact, I was very sad, but because here is a person who would have made a mark as a bantamweight, super bantam, more than a welterweight in the world, if he had comported himself in his choosing career. But
you were managing him.
Yes, managing him, and sometimes, not even sometimes, many a time. Mind you, managing a sportsman is even difficult than managing a company. One sportsman. So those who manage a team of 11 players plus
8 on the bench or 11 on the bench.
You can't just believe it. They became very dictatorial dictators. What you feel it's good for him, he wouldn't listen. Be listening from behind, and at the end of the day, messes up. And this is exactly what used to happen. Not only Alfred Cote, but most of these sportsmen.
So Alfred Cote, is it that his choice of life was something that really affected him?
Oh, that might be his private line of life. But then, it's up to you, the manager, to advise him, guide him, and all that. And if you try your best, and the sportsman decides not to, or doesn't listen to you, there is little you can do.
Which one advice did you give to him and he didn't take?
Well, one, managing his finances. He wouldn't take it. He wouldn't take it.
Why is his money? So?
Yes, that's why. Then he cannot. How can he manage his finances himself? His level of experience in life. A youngster, 1. Level of education, 2. Life, managing a family, 3. I Cote's children were with me. They stayed with me. I picked all of them and registered them at St. Anthony's Preparatory School. They were schooling under me, living under my roof. And that was where people saw even the change. Because when they were with their grandparents in Accra, it was completely different from when they came to stay with me. Because when they came to stay with me at Dansoman, when you come, he will be in a corner facing the wall. My spouse will shout, "Don't look back." When you talk to the children, they respond by, first of all, "Ofane," that is, "Excuse me," you see, or "Inga," please, yes. They never knew this when they were in Accra. Now they are all grown, and they appreciate it, ever being with me.
Would you say the decision of Cote to leave Alfred Cote also affected him in one way or the other?
Oh yes. You see, that's why I've said earlier, the two of them, they inspire each other. When they get into the ring, they were like that in the national team as amateurs. They were together, traveling out of the country. Together, they went to the Olympics. It's Cote who lost his fight, but Alfred Cote ended the Olympics without any loss. But because of a nasty cut, he couldn't continue. He got to the championship zone all right, but he couldn't fight for a medal. So they inspired each other. And when they came from the Olympics, the government had wanted to, get them to the next Olympics.
How many boxers have passed through your hands? Can you remember? Those you've managed.
That's right.
Promoted.
Very, very numerous. And
like approximately how many? 10, 20, 30, 40?
When we say boxers that have passed through my hands, both as manager, one as a promoter, the other as an advisor, numerous. Tondaye, Ramos Ajari, you have Cote, Alfred Cote, you have Richard Comey, you have Isaac Dugbe, you have Brahma Kamoko, alias Bukom Banku.
Oh, okay.
I'm the one who took Bukom Banku to the US.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was brought to me by an uncle with defect eyes. You see, he had the defected eyes, which was detected in the UK. So
you took them to the US to be corrected or something?
No, his story is also different. He was banned from fighting in UK. And when Simon Block, who was then the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, realized that he's come under my management.
Okay.
Phone then told me the boy had a problem. So he narrated to me all that happened in UK. And just as I've said, boxing being a nasty distance, his management, not knowing where they lied to the outside authorities that they had sent him to
like a facility to have the eyes
to Germany,
yeah.
a German facility to have his eyes corrected. Not knowing, they read that the man had been sent to Akwitia. You know, we have a German facility there. A German hospital there, and they are all mainly for the eyes. So he was sent there. But then they lied to the outsiders that he had been sent to Germany, and that when it's corrected, they could then bring him back
to
come and fight. It was then that the father approached me. Then I picked him up from Akwitia, sent him to Kolebu. Kolebu tested him, did everything. Then I started promoting him, got him to number 5 in the world as a light heavyweight. Got him to number 5. He was above all the American light heavyweights. He was above them. And he was then, going about in Bukom in short pants and, yelling that he was on top of all the Americans. Fine, ended up sending him to the US with a trainer. It was there that trouble also came up. And the manager sat behind his desk, was weeping. You can't believe it. He wept controllably when Bankun failed the medicals. So it's just so disappointing.
This will be very, very demoralizing for you.
Yes.
But which boxer would you say has been your most prized asset as a boxing promoter and manager?
Can I say?
Is it after Kote? Because you won the world title with him.
Yes. And Dogbe also won world title under me as as the technical director of the team.
Oh, okay.
And the boxing aspect was purely my responsibility.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I would say with Dogbe, it was collective.
Okay.
With Alfred Kote, it was solely me. So, but then the two wouldn't run equal.
Who is the best boxer you've ever managed?
Well, the best boxer I've ever managed is Alfred Kote. Yes. Alfred Kote was talented.
Wow.
Yes, talented more than Ike.
I see.
And talented even more than all the Ghanaian boxers. This is something which has to be, to be told. And then it's without any debate, because this is a guy who I can say got to be liked by Amaka Matefiu. After Amaka Matefiu, E.T. Mensah, the late E.T. Mensah. I happened to work with all of them from the sports ministry, plus other sports ministers.
Which boxer brought you the most money?
Rather, I would wish you ask my total contribution.
Exactly, I'm coming. That's what I'm asking.
Monetary, because
how much have you spent in boxing?
What man has spent in boxing on boxers could have, put up this chain of
like
estates, real estates, because it wasn't easy. A sole person managing boxers, no, it's always done by team.
So how much have you pumped into boxing?
Oh, that I can say my life savings.
So approximately $5 million, $10 million, approximately.
It's unmentionable. That's my.
You probably have data of your expenditures, isn't it?
Well, I had, but when you look at the figures and you get a headache, it's better you rather
don't look at it.
Don't look at it at all. Forget about it, and then life goes on.
But do you think you've made money back from boxing?
Oh no, I would say lost, because I kept on from boxing, being an executive member of the board. You know, not only the board. I started. I brought in Moses Fuamoni
to become president of Ghana Boxing Authority.
Yes, I brought him in. He's a member of my men's fellowship at the church. He's a son of a reverend minister. Yes, Methodist reverend minister who was with the army and died. And the mother all, came to like me. I invited him to take my position, to come and take my position with the boxing board.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But how come you never even contested to become Ghana Boxing Authority?
Oh, no. At that time, it wasn't a contesting position.
But even after that, you could have still contested.
Oh, I tell you a story. During Papa Usu Nkrumah's tenure, Joagri happened to be the the deputy minister for sports.
Yes, I remember.
That's right, yes. Joagri.
He was a former editor of graphic.
Yes, graphic sports.
Yes.
They've all passed through my hands. Joagri, John Badin, who is in the US. Yes. Mention all of them. They've all worked with me. Plus the MP, Nilante Vanderpoel. Nilante Vanderpoel was my ring announcer. Can you believe that? And up to today, he calls me uncle. Uncle Yoofi, this is it. So, Papa Usu Nkrumah and Joagri sent me a message. They were coming for me to be the president of Ghana Boxing. When they came, I had left to the US. I said, I don't like the position.
Why?
Oh. Look, it's very, very difficult to work with these Bukum chaps. Terrible. Can you believe it? There was a bottles this thing, pandemonium in Bukum Arena last 2 weekends.
Is that why you've never wanted to be Ghana Boxing Authority president?
Yes, at all.
Or maybe you practice being behind the scenes as promoter and then be chopping the big money.
Well, you might be right in some aspect, but then because that was what was the saying between the top hierarchy in those days. They said, they were likening me to Don King. Don King was the promoter.
In fact, he's one of the likes of Joseph Agbeko.
That's right.
Who is now the top way Kaletor.
That's right. Yeah. Don King was the promoter and his son, Carl King, was the manager. You see, because in the US, it's against the law to be a promoter and to be a manager as well. Conflict of interest.
Okay.
This is being practiced in the UK and in Europe, but not in the US. As a promoter, you are a promoter. As a manager, you are a manager. So, our past promoters, most of them, are saying, oh, Yoofi, okay, then let your son. It has happened that my son bears my full name because he's also Friday born just like me.
Okay.
And so my full name, Junior. He said, Yoofi, you can let your son be the manager of the boys. And then you hold on as a promoter and a member of the Ghana Boxing Authority. I said, oh, no way. He said, oh, but Duncan does it. I said, if Duncan does it in the US, does it mean I also have to follow that principle here? No. So I never accepted it. When Papa Usu Nkrumah and Joagri wanted to make me the president of Ghana Boxing, said, oh, no. They said, oh, no. You have to assume that position. The long run, I left it.
And since then, you've never gone for it.
Yeah. Oh,
you've never gone for it.
No.
I have to come back to the question. Which boxer, in as much as you've pumped so much money into boxing, which boxer has brought you maybe just a little, let's say 1% of what you've spent?
Even the I would say Tondaye.
Wow.
Yes.
Not even after Kote, who won a world title for you?
No. These boys, you rather spend for them.
Has it been worth it investing in boxing?
Oh, well, you see, I would say not materialistically, but in social aspect. Boxing has propelled me far beyond the shores of Ghana. Australia, I'm known there. Come to Europe, I'm known there. Go to US, I'm known there. And now even my name is behind a boxer, supporting the manager for the boxer to be engaged by a foreign promoter. So only the name.
You've made the name.
That's right.
But you've not made the
money.
The money.
Yes.
But do you feel you are celebrated enough as someone who is invested in this?
Oh yes, I do. I must say yes. I must say yes.
Wow.
I must say yes. Yes. I must say yes because you know, with Azuma, it's also the same. Having co-promoted his last fight with the Australians, that is with Fenech.
Yeah.
That's a novelty fight.
You co-promoted that?
Yes, I led the team. I think it's in the Google. We're wearing my pink suit. The contingent was led by me, and the whole fight was even arranged by me and one Maxon. We would have promoted the fight in Indonesia, but then we had to relocate it to Australia.
Your DNA is boxing. You've really sold Ghana to the world through the sport.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
What other thing have you not told me? What other thing have you not told me?
The loss of the world title by Isaac Dogbe. That's one of my painful stories in boxing, which I never forget.
What happened? You didn't play the politics at the highest level?
It's the father. The politics was all right, but the father, you know, is the person to be blamed. When Isaac won the world title, defended against the number 6.
Yeah, Hidonaro Otaki.
That's right. And I, the technical director, was the one, you know, who hold discussions with Top Rank, and then the matchmaker, who is the Australian, name forgotten. So after the winning of the Otaki was then the number 6. So he was on a mandatory, he was on a voluntary defense list at that time. Passed through Otaki, then the next defense was also, we were reminded.
Yes.
Otaki being number 6, the next defense, I picked the number 4. Now, why I picked the number 4, went on the drawing board, and the number 4 was from UK. Now, this UK guy was among the Commonwealth contenders when I had wanted Isaac to fight for a Commonwealth title.
Oh, okay.
They all refused to fight Isaac. all the Commonwealth contenders, which then includes the number 4. Now, at the World Championship stage, he will accept to fight because it's an opportunity for him.
Okay.
So, the father was then in UK. When Isaac won the world title, the father was here. Isaac here, father here, and then boasting, oh, he wants to buy a house in this compound. Said, how? After first world title, your son, let him rest a bit. Let him enjoy his money. Fine. So I phoned Paul. Said, Paul, okay, I've approached the number 4 contender, which I've forgotten his name, and then they have accepted. Then he said, oh, then we'll make a lot of money. I said, don't talk about money now. I had then approached the TV networks in Ghana. And, you know, the relationship between Ghana and UK is so cordial that, fine. When they buy the fight, revenue comes in. Yeah. So you don't talk about the money. Let them accept, get contracts signed, then everything becomes okay. He said okay. Then, there and then, Top Rank came out with their statement that they've signed on Isaac Dogbe. So the chaps came back, said, Yoofi, if Top Rank has signed on Isaac Dogbe, then instead of promoting the fight in UK, they would like to fight under Top Rank in the US. So the opportunity gone. Said, oh, is that so? Okay. Then let me get back to the matchmaker. Yeah. I've forgotten his name.
Is it Michael Tamura?
Michael Tamura.
Yeah.
So I went back to Mike. Paul said, oh, I should call Mike. When I called Mike, I said, oh, Yoofi, we've already negotiated and we are fighting the top, the topmost. That's the word he used.
That's Emmanuel Navarrete.
Yes. He said, topmost. You're fighting the topmost. Why? The topmost happens to be the number 2 contender, because already the number 3, the number 1 is a mandatory challenger. So I took the particulars of this guy, and then his height, everything, just right here. Then I took a measuring tape, and measured his height on the wall. Then, very technical, then that of Isaac. Then I realized Isaac was under his chin. I said, Paul, what's wrong? Who decided this? He said, oh, that is Michael. He said, oh, we've already negotiated. Do you know what goes on between him, Michael Tamura, and Navarrate's camp? This is how Michael Tamura sold.
Then why are you blaming Paul for it?
Paul, when you being the father, he employed Michael Tamura and was listening to Michael Tamura instead of listening to me and then Dr. Agumenu and then his cousin lawyer.
The other people who were part of
That's right.
Is that the reason why Isaac Dogbe went away from his father?
Well, after he had lost the world title, all the finances also disappeared. All the earnings disappeared.
My final question for you is this one. Have there been a moment where you felt that, no, let me walk away from boxing because I've pumped so much money into boxing? And did your family ever fight you because of that?
Oh, well, it's... well, they all had to, come to terms with it. They all had to come to terms with it because they realized that no amount of
talking could talk you out.
That's right. You see, because from there, they found me in kickboxing. They got me into kickboxing, where I've been the vice president for 8 years, and finally been appointed as the Ghana's ambassador for kickboxing. Found me as executive member in the Ghana Boxing Authority under Peter Zweni's administration, and so, and all that, and most of the gyms too, I happen to be the advisor or spokesperson and all that for them. So
your CV is an incredible CV.
So with this, they realized that they should leave me alone.
You spoke passionately about Isaac Dugbe. Can he still win a world title? Is he still in position too?
Oh, with my experience, it's a no-go area for him. I don't think. Take his height into consideration.
But you saw the height and you still came in to advise him.
Oh, as a super, up to the super bantamweight level, up to the super bantamweight class, he can still feature, but he has now jumped to featherweight. Featherweight, the experience that we had from with Azuma's participation, come across a lot of featherweights. And Isaac Dugbe did not match them at all. Talk of DK Poison, who calls me commander. DK Poison, yes, he featured as a featherweight all along. Going in then for lightweight. In his time, there were no supers and all that, and it was difficult.
So would you advise Isaac to drop back to?
And can he drop?
That's a challenge too. That's a challenge. Massive challenge.
That's right. So I've been a technical person. I tell you, that's the end of the road for him when talking about world championship.
How can we improve boxing in this country?
Well, boxing improvement from the word go has to start with the Catch Them Young.
Okay, the event they are currently doing.
That's right.
They are doing right now.
That's right, which was much more an advice that I've been providing.
Okay.
The Catch Them Young. Even there are some parents who have their kids, a policeman, someone in Adabraka, they have their relatives' kids, maybe 7 years, 8 years. They say, "Oh, Mr. Boham," then I direct them to Jamestown.
Okay.
To join them. So Catch Them Young, because that's what I found in Cuba.
Okay.
It's really interesting. In Cuba, you have the gyms handling these boys, and with the parents' consent. From school, they come to the gym, train. After the training, the coaches will line up the kids and deliver them their various houses.
Okay, that is actually something Ghana can do.
Yes. So, if you catch them young and they're going for corporate support, I think it will do us all good. And this is where I pray that you, the media, come in and then
help push the agenda.
That's right.
Yeah. Mr. Boham, thank you so much for your time. We are extremely grateful.
Thank you.
The man's whose CV is an enviable one. Wow, what a CV he's got. It's been a pleasure speaking to him, sharing his knowledge with us, and telling us the story behind Mr. Yoofi Boham getting into boxing, despite not being part of the factory for the production of boxers in this country, which is the Bukom, Jamestown, and all those areas. But his contribution to boxing in this country is one that that cannot be properly defined, because through his investment, he sold this country to the world, and he did that in the sport of boxing. an area that he developed so much passion for, simply because his friend asked him to take charge of
his gym.
We appreciate your time. Continue to enjoy the programs here on the Joy News channel. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullah.